Hey lady, welcome to the Postpartum on Purpose podcast. If we haven't met, my name is Anne Marie and I'm wife to James and mom to 4 beautiful kids, ranging from 9 down to 1 with one on the way. My hope is to help other women experience postpartum as a time of grit, growth, and grace. This is episode 53. I am so glad that I checked what episode number was last week before I hit record because I was about to say this is episode 52. And then I guess we would have had 2 of them. Hi, lady. I hope you are so well. This will probably be an abbreviated episode, though I've said that before and it had not been true. But my daughter is getting close to her next mealtime, and this topic shouldn't be that hard, right? I wanted to talk about do's and don'ts of nighttime feeding. And I suppose do's and don'ts is meant to be a little catchy and a little clickbaity, a little attention grabby. Do's and don'ts is these are things that have worked for me, and I have had an evolution of thought on some of them over the years, which is part of why I decided to talk about them, because on baby number 5, some things have changed since the way that I did them with babies number 1 and maybe plus. And then, of course, I have a Pioneer Woman cookbook, and she gets really possessive is not the right word. Like, she has very strong opinions about some of her recipes, including salsa, which I didn't even know that was a thing you could have a strong opinion about, but she does. And then, of course, she makes it very clear in her wording, or her editor, whomever it is that did the wording for her cookbooks, that this is her personal opinion. And of course, what I'm sharing with you is my personal opinion. This is not moral. These are not moral statements or judgments, but I hope that thinking about some of these things, thinking through them, will help you to determine what works for you, is working for you, and then maybe what's not, and if there is something you would like to change. The topic is nighttime feeding sessions, or setting up a nighttime feeding station. Now, most of what I'm going to say is relevant specifically to breastfeeding because I have only ever breastfed my baby, so I don't have experience with formula feeding. That might change how some of the dynamics is not the right word. Logistics, that is the right word. Some of the logistics for middle of the nighttime feeds, and I will trust that you are a big girl and can figure out how to adapt any of this to the situation that makes the most sense for you. But from a breastfeeding perspective, there are some things that I have come to value in wherever it is that I am feeding the baby at nighttime when I'm trying to keep everything very low stimulation and lowest light possible. We do things a little bit differently from most families in that our babies do not sleep in the room with us, even from the beginning, actually, because I found with my very first baby that if I heard all of the little, not coos, they were not coos, they were little pig snorts and grunts. That's how the newborn babies do things, at least our newborn babies do. When I heard those, I was jolted awake every single time, even if the baby was fast asleep. And so I wasn't able to sleep that way. And we made the executive decision to move the baby out into the hall. Our house is rather compact. The hall is not that far away, in the living room, which is about, 15 feet maybe, 20 feet. I'm not that good at judge of feet. It's quite close to our room, and we keep the door open. So we can hear the baby as often as she cries, in that she's awake, but I don't hear the pig noises anymore. All of that simply to say, when I go to feed her, I'm walking to the living room to do so. I'm not actually feeding her in our room. So I get up, I go down the hall. There is a wall separating the living room from the kitchen. On the other side of the wall is a little under cabinet light, and I flip that on. It's got a couple of different settings. It's got a warm setting, which is nice, as opposed to the really sterile feeling high bright white. And I turn that on. I go back to feed her, and I have a rocking chair where I sit. There is a really comfy, it's not fuzzy is not the right word. What is it? It's a super comfy blanket somebody gave to us after my youngest son was born, who's almost 2 now. So that is the blanket I use specifically at night. This is part of how I just cue my brain for comfort, which helps with letdown, of course. But I cue my brain for comfort with this really comfy blanket that I only use for middle of the night feedings. I try to keep water really close by so that I'm drinking and hydrating during that time. I found it's really nice to have a chapstick close by. And sometimes I will have a little pen and my planner or a notebook, which if you're thinking, Anne Marie, it's very low light, right? Yes, of course. Sometimes my handwriting is going sideways on the page, but sometimes there are things that occur to me at that time. Not feverishly scribbling things down like a mad scientist, but just something might come to mind. And so I'll have a notebook or planner, what have you, there to jot that down if something comes up. Those are the basics of what I have. My daughter sleeps not in a bassinet, but in the napper part of her pack and play. When she gets to be about 3 months old, we'll transition her into right now it's little boy's room. That time I guess it'll be one little boy plus her room. But until then, she's in the napper in the pack and play. And right next to her, I have her little outfits, her wipes, diapers. I guess that's mostly it. Super cute headbands, but not necessarily for middle of the night. And I only change my babies if they smell like poop. In the middle of the night, I will only change them because that involves unwrapping them. We swaddle our babies during the summer now in a muslin blanket. I'll only change the baby's diaper if they smell like poop. I don't change it for pee. If I don't smell something, then I don't worry about changing it. Because I found that putting air on the baby's genitals can help wake them up, which is the opposite of what we're trying to do, of course, in the middle of the night. Something I don't do now that I used to do is eat. I don't eat in the middle of the night anymore. This is highly individualized, maybe. I'm not sure. I haven't taken a poll on this. I used to eat in the middle of the night, and I thought that I was fueling my body for the work that I was doing. My thinking on that has shifted. Now I eat during the day, and I eat plenty of food during the day. But during the night, I give my body that rest period, rest and digest, so that period of time where I'm not eating, to just give my body a break, actually. If I were legitimately hungry during the middle of the night, I would eat, but I found that it's not necessary for me. That's not really a weight loss thing, so to speak, because of course at only 4 weeks postpartum, as of today, weight loss is not at all a goal on the horizon for me. And I will be transparent with you that I do weigh myself once a week or every 2 weeks. So I'm not saying that I don't pay any attention to my weight. Of course, I know roughly what my weight is. But weight loss is not a goal right now. That's not something I'm trying to specifically do. So I don't eat in the middle of the night. I used to eat quite a bit. And that would be my snack time for my antioxidant trail mix. By which I just mean that it contained omega-3, like omega-3s for walnuts, which I guess is what made an antioxidant, whatever. That was maybe a little bit of denial on my part. Anyhow, I found that it was a time where I was consuming a lot of calories, right? Trail mix is super high in calories, and I didn't need it. I don't know if you need food during your middle of the night feedings or not, but that's just something I would propose to you if you have consistently are eating during the middle of the night. If you could just ask yourself, is that something I want to keep doing or not? Not with judgment, but just, is it something I want to keep doing? Something else I did a lot with my first 2 babies, but don't do anymore, is have my phone with me. I used to, in the middle of the night, think, I'm going to text friends, see who else is awake at this time. We'll have sort of the buddy time of nursing the babies together. And I do know several women who have brand new babies right now. I could do that, I suppose. I don't know if they'd text back or not, right? Because I don't know if they would have their phones with them either. But once upon a time, that was important to me, to have that sense of community and familiarity. Now, even with the gray screen or grayscale filters on my phone, I actually don't keep it with me in the middle of the night. It's part of another way, in addition to not eating, that I try to help my body and my brain stay quiet, rather than giving this a sense or impression that it's time to wake up, it's time to be active and do things. I don't use the phone. With my son, I would do research. I put quotation marks around that, but I would do research in the middle of the night on things like best glasses for your face shape or best jewelry for your face shape. And I would do some looking up of things for personal style related purposes. And I've just found I don't need to do that. Not at that time anyway. I can do it later on, earlier on in the day or later on in the day, depending on what time it is. It's not something I need to do at that time. That can actually just be a time of rest for my brain. I'm not even going to pretend to you that I have tons of bonding that goes on with my baby at that time. I am focused to the extent that I can be, but I'm also just tired. So I've let go of eating during the middle of the night. I've also let go of having my phone with me at all. I'm not saying those from a place of virtue signaling, but just something to ask yourself. Is it important to you to do those things in the middle of the night? Or maybe would you prefer not to do them or to try not doing them? I think that's mostly what I wanted to say. And my husband has just opened the door to let me know that my daughter is in fact ready. I hope you are so well. Next week, I think we're going to talk about my first 2 weeks postpartum as a mom of 5. I'll talk to you later.